Hello, welcome everyone, and thank you for taking the time to join Boundless Journeys today to learn about our small group hiking adventure in Slovenia. My name is Michelle, and I manage our Slovenia Julian Alps trip. I'm very excited to share this incredible journey with you, and I hope it will inspire you on a trip in the near future with us. Before we get started, I'd like to draw your attention to the chat window on the left side of the screen. I will not be answering questions during this presentation. However, I will respond to each question individually by email shortly after we conclude today. Or if you prefer, just feel free to email me directly at Michelle, Michelle, at boundlessjourneys.com. We call Slovenia Europe's best kept secret because it has so much to offer, but very few tourist crowds. The incredible hiking opportunities, superb cuisine, incredible landscapes easily rivals its more famous neighbors of Austria, Italy, and Croatia. But I'll let our local guide speak more about what awaits you in Slovenia. I'm pleased to introduce Irina, one of our Slovenian guides, and Kristen, our guest coordinator at Boundless Journeys, who joined our trip just this past summer.
Thank you. Looking forward to sharing this fantastic trip with everyone.
Hi, everyone.
So first, I'd like to start by telling you a bit about Boundless Journeys in case you are new to us. Simply put, Boundless Journeys handcrafts outstanding travel experiences for people with an adventurous spirit. And traveling with us offers some distinct advantages. For example, we keep our groups small with never more than 16 guests, and we have 2 guides for groups of 8 or more. This allows us to tread lightly and have more intimate meals and experiences. Small groups and experienced local guides allow for authentic, immersive experiences. Just let our guides take care of everything while you can let go and be in the moment every step along the trail. Kristen and I can answer your questions you have about this trip to help you get the most out of your experience, and we can also help you with any pre- or post-trip arrangements you may need, even suggestions on how to spend an extra day or 2 in Ljubljana. As you will see with Irina, our guides are all incredibly experienced and enthusiastic about the tour. Because they live in the region and have years of guiding experience, they know the trails inside and out. And we also choose only the most charming and comfortable boutique hotels with excellent personalized service. You'll get a true feeling of the Slovenian culture and warm hospitality of the area. And last but not least, we provide custom trip planning services for private groups in addition to just our scheduled tours. So why choose Slovenia over another Alpine destination? Well, first, this trip is safe and easy to get to. We fly into Ljubljana, which is a charming capital city. Slovenia has superb food and wine, especially from picnics on the trail to hearty fare in the evenings. And the mountains are just spectacular views of craggy peaks, glacial lakes, expansive valleys, alpine forests. Once you think you've seen the most incredible view, your jaw just drops again around the next corner. And even a few cows grazing along in the field as well. If you've hiked the Tour de Mont Blanc or Dolomites or have wanted to, this is an excellent follow-up or alternative because of the balance of cultural experiences, fantastic lodging, and amazing alpine mountains of Slovenia. And finally, without further ado, I'll let Irina and Kristen take us through the trip. Irina, thank you for making the time to join us from Slovenia. We certainly appreciate having your expertise today.
Hello, I'm happy to be here. So my name is Irina. I'm half Slovenian, half Croatian, so I guide both trips, Boundless Journeys. I'm also a mountain guide, ski instructor, and climbing instructor. So when I do not guide, I work in art and culture, and I love to travel. I studied culture studies, so I will be full of information from that side. And I'm also finishing masters of my arts management at the moment. World Legacy Awards by National Geographic declared Slovenia last year in 2016 as the world's most sustainable country. Slovenia really is going green and local. Consider that nearly 60% of Slovenia is covered in lush forests, and more than 40 parks and reserves are home to some 20,000 different plants and animals, with a network of diverse hiking trails. On top of that, more and more restaurants and local cafes are offering food with fresh and homegrown veggies and homemade cheese, bread, meats, topped off with amazing variety of wines from local vineyards. All that in a country the size of New Jersey and only 2 million citizens. In a week, we will get to explore the storybook landscape of Lake Bled with its cliff-top castle and tiny islet. Walk through an alpine gorge with icy cold water carving its way through the surrounding cliffs. We will perch above the tree line to admire the stunning views of majestic alpine peaks and hike the trails along the fields of mountain flowers to taste local cheese produced at high altitudes. Slovenia's capital, Ljubljana, was declared the Green Capital of Europe in 2016 by European Union. Ljubljana is a really small city, so everyone will be able to negotiate most of the city on foot. It is a city that even the locals love to stroll through the cobblestone old city center or make 2 steps more and stretch their legs in the Green Park Tivoli for some fresh air and midday cappuccino, and end by the riverbank for an evening aperitivo. Permitted with historical buildings that hold their character and new age vibrant cafes and bistros that offer tasty and healthy meals. Not to mention numerous gourmet restaurants that are spread around the town.
Yes, Ljubljana is a great city. If you decide to arrive a day or so prior to the start of the tour or stay on a few days after the tour concludes, there are plenty of things to see and do right in Ljubljana. It's a great little city that is safe and, as Irina said, easy to navigate. Old Town is so charming and it is enjoyable to just walk around and soak in your surroundings. Most of the days of the week, there's a fruit and vegetable market in a plaza, which is right next to a flower market. And if you're a foodie and your extra days in Ljubljana happen to fall on a Friday, there's an open kitchen food market where you can try a wide variety of fresh local food from different vendors. And any day of the week, you'll see stalls with artists and craftsmen selling handmade jewelry, original artwork, and everything else in between. It's a great way to buy a unique handmade souvenir for yourself or for friends and family back home. But if shopping isn't your thing, there's plenty of other sights to see in Ljubljana. There's the Ljubljana Castle. It's hard to miss. It's situated on top of a hill above Old Town. So you can opt to hike up or ride the funicular, and you can take a tour of the castle and learn its history, view various exhibits on display there, and even eat lunch while enjoying a great view of the city below. There are also several beautiful churches and cathedrals located right in Ljubljana, notably the Ljubljana Cathedral, also known as the Church of St. Nicholas. It's particularly beautiful. And there's a variety of museums if you're a history buff. There's the Museum of Contemporary History, the National Gallery, and the Slovene Ethnographic Museum. And there are also a few random specialty museums, such as a railway museum or a museum of puppetry. So definitely many options for all travelers to enjoy. And if you find yourself wanting to explore outside of Ljubljana on your extra days and are looking for recommendations, we can absolutely help you with that. Slovenia has so much to offer.
On this trip, we will walk on meandering paths that connect small villages, sometimes starts at the mountain foothills, on old mule tracks that are wide with an easy slope. Above the tree line, we will explore the alpine terrain on well-marked, maintained, and non-exposed trails. We will come across some rocks and roots, but hikes will not be technically challenging and adequate for everyone.
Now, to prepare for our Slovenia trip, you certainly don't need to be an extreme athlete in any way, but this is a moderate to strenuous trip, including some hikes and more rugged mountainous terrain. So having some hiking experience and simple comfort on dirt and rocky trails is important and helpful to have. And in the couple months prior to the trip, for example, we suggest to prepare by engaging in moderate cardiovascular exercise, such as hiking or running or cycling, for about 45 minutes to an hour, 4 to 5 times a week, as well as adding longer activities whenever possible and on the weekends. And of course, getting out on some dirt trails to hike in hilly or mountainous terrain is ideal, but may not be available to you depending on where you live. The more prepared and fit you are for the trip, the more comfortable and enjoyable your experience will be, which is the ultimate goal.
Yeah, I think it should be a goal of every guest to try to get out there and do some actual hiking on the trail prior to the trip. I consider myself in good physical condition to participate in the tour, as I had been jogging about 3 miles several times a week, but I underestimated what the repetitive motion of the upward and downward steps would do to my knees. So they were a little bit sore, and I would have been better off doing some more hiking in mountainous terrain or hitting up the stair climber at the gym, rather than just jogging.
A typical day with Boundless Journeys in Slovenia starts with a delicious breakfast, daily fresh-baked multigrain bread, homemade jams, local cheese and meats, eggs, granola, fresh fruit, juices, and of course, not to miss the morning cappuccino, as the influence of Italy in coffee drinking is strong. Then we gather for a morning briefing of the daily overview to explain what the flow of the day will be like, what to expect from the hike, where we will be hiking, what we'll see, and similar. Before we set off for the day activity, guides always make sure that everyone has sufficient clothing with the right shoes, if necessary, poles, and so on. Around midday, we stop for a picnic lunch at spots that offer beautiful views all around. What a better way to pause, catch a breath, relax a bit, and then continue. We're back at the hotel around 4 to 5 p.m., depending on the hike, and sit down for dinner around 7 p.m., so there's some leisure time for everyone to enjoy the hotel's amenities or to explore a bit the local villages, towns where we stay at. Dinners in Europe generally don't start before 7 to 8 p.m., and we can sometimes run quite late. But we, the guides, do our best to manage those timings adequately to group's desires. Landscape will vary throughout the trip. We'll first admire the mountain peaks from a distance when strolling on cobblestone streets of Ljubljana. Approaching Lake Blit, we will then already have the sense of the Alpine landscape while walking Windgar Gorge along limestone cliffs curved out of the glacial river Radona. Hiking on the Alpine meadows on Pokljuka Plateau above Bleitenbachin and traversing Vršić mountain pass with limestone peaks reaching over 6,000 feet of altitude. In the Socha Valley, the cold river will charm us with its emerald green color, and surrounding hills will tell the stories of World War I. Now we will already start feeling the influence of the Mediterranean, scent of olive groves, lavender, cherry trees, etc. That what will become even more obvious in Brda, where we will explore the rolling hills and vineyards and taste local wines. Hiking in Slovenia in June is extremely beautiful, since the snow has just recently melted and all the flowers are in blossom. In the mountains, we will come across many delicate alpine flowers, such as the Striglo gentian, Carniola, Turk's can, cap lilies, and so on.
One pleasant surprise about this trip was the World War I history on the tour. It was just absolutely fascinating. We visited the Kobarit World War I Museum, and it had excellent displays where we learned so much, not only about Slovenia's role in World War I, but we really gained a greater understanding of Slovenian history overall. And the interesting thing about the World War I history on this tour is the fact that we saw it out on the trail. When hiking, it wasn't unusual to be hiking on old military supply routes or to hike right by an old World War I bunker. To be surrounded by such beautiful scenery, yet to look down and see a bunker where soldiers had experienced the pain and suffering of war was an incredibly powerful feeling. So the World War I history isn't just experienced that one afternoon at the museum, but instead it really permeates many days of the tour.
Hotel Wander features 4 interconnected medieval townhouses dating back to 16th, 17th century. Today it is a modern-style hotel situated in the heart of Ljubljana's old town and offers a quiet riverfront location as a great starting point for exploring Ljubljana on foot. It's only steps away from the vibrant Ljubljana market and in the midst of restaurants and cafes that offer pleasant cosmopolitan vibes in the evenings. Hotel Jezero is located at Bohin Lake in the heart of the Julian Alps, where you can dip into the nearby Alpine Lake and admire superb views of the mountain peaks and alpine landscape. Dobra Villa is a smaller family-run boutique hotel in Bovec. Here you can fill your lungs with the fresh mountain air and enjoy the influence of the Mediterranean at their outstanding restaurant and wine bar. I can honestly say that you will not be hungry on this tour. On the contrary, diversity of the meals throughout the tour will trigger your curiosity on a daily basis. One of Slovenia's specialities is definitely our daily freshly baked multigrain bread that the locals are very fond of. Of course, not to mention homemade jams, herbal brandies, honey, platters of local cheeses and meats. We'll try Slovenia traditional cuisine as well as gourmet extravaganzas prepared by the top Slovenian chef Ana Roš, this year awarded the title of Best Female Chef at her restaurant in Casafranco, and listed at the world's 100 best restaurants.
Yes, as Irina said, you will not go hungry on this tour. We have great breakfasts that consist of breakfast buffets at the hotels. They were tasty and had enough variety that there is something for everyone to fill up on before a full day of hiking. The lunches on the tour were mostly picnic lunches out on the trail, so not only was the food amazing, but so was the view. These picnic lunches included fresh local cheese, bread, meats, fruits, and vegetables. And in terms of the dinners, I've never eaten so well for 8 straight days. The dinners were phenomenal. Similar to the breakfasts and lunches on the tour, local, fresh, high quality ingredients are used to create some exceptional dishes. We were really able to get a feel for what traditional Slovenian cuisine consists of, while at the same time getting to taste where modern Slovenian cuisine is headed. The most obvious example of this is dining at the world famous Ana Rosa's restaurant, Husa Franco. It was innovative, delicious, and enjoyed by everyone. Definitely a highlight of the tour. And now Irina is going to speak a little bit about some of the special experiences that you will enjoy on the tour.
Yes. So during our trip, we have an incredible opportunity to taste local cheese produced at high altitudes while hiking above the Socha Valley. Also, for all wine connoisseurs, a special moment will be in Brda, where we get to taste and discuss with a local wine producer about organic wines, specifics of this wine and why it is so challenging to make it. Although Slovenia has a few wine regions to offer, we will visit Goriška Brda with conditions of a perfect combination of rich soil and moderate climate that offer excellent conditions for the production of some of the best wines Slovenia has to offer. On the tour, we will have the opportunity to learn and taste also some organic wines that are now one of the most desired ones in Europe and worldwide. Save your questions for our friends, local producers of this wine that have numerous interesting stories to share.
Yes, the trip to the cheese producers and the vineyard were absolutely highlights on the trip. But probably one of my best memories of our Slovenian tour was the afternoon where we had lunch at Lector Restaurant in the quaint medieval town of Radolica. Not only was the food amazing, but the presentation was so clever. We ate the best pumpkin soup I've ever had out of actual hollowed out pumpkins. And then after an incredible dessert, again, everything consisting of fresh, local, seasonal ingredients, the owner came out and played a tune for us on his harmonica. And we just felt so special because there were no other tour groups there, just locals and some European tourists enjoying their lunch. And the bonus was in the basement of this restaurant, they have a long tradition of making Slovenian gingerbread called lekt. It's similar to gingerbread, but more like a honey bread. And as you can see on that slide there up on the screen, that's the owners making some of the honey bread and speaking about it and the history about it. And it was just, that was such a memorable afternoon for everyone. It wasn't just lunch at a restaurant, but it was this entire, experience. And that was definitely a theme that kind of continues throughout the entire tour. You're not just hiking on a trail. You're not just eating a dinner. There's just this whole experience that surrounds it. And it just really adds to the entire experience in Slovenia.
The weather in Slovenia changes from continental in central Slovenia with mild winters and warm summers to alpine weather in the mountains with fresh mornings during the summer days and the mild Mediterranean climate on the southwestern side of the country that allows great conditions for agriculture, olive groves, and fruit trees. On the tour, you can expect to have fresh and brisk mornings and evenings from like 55 to 60 Fahrenheit. So we would recommend to bring a warm layer with to put around your shoulders. During the summer, we generally have warm and sunny days with day temperatures around 70 to 80 Fahrenheit. Therefore, sunscreen, a hat, and lots of hydration drinking water is recommended. Tap water is in Slovenia drinkable, by the way. A rain jacket and rain backpack cover will be your best friend, and summer afternoon showers are common but don't last long. Please choose your day pack wisely. Comfortable to wear and hike with and big enough to put in your essentials for a day's hike. But do not overdo it as you will need to carry it. The weather in the mountains is in general unpredictable and can change rapidly. Each day you need to be prepared for a full mix of weather conditions within the same day. For this reason, we suggest a dress in layers that can be adjusted quickly to suit the weather conditions. That is also why each day, even if it's sunny, when you wake up in the morning, you will be required to carry with you in your backpack a warm layer, something like thin fleece and a waterproof rain jacket. We also recommend that you carry in your backpack your half a liter to 1 liter of water, your sunscreen, a hat, your camera, a poncho, or other cover for your day pack in case of rain, and your trekking poles if you're used to using them. Also, please know that the comfort of your feet is of a great importance on your trip. For those reasons, choosing your hiking boots is one of the most important decisions you will make when preparing for this trip. Your hiking boots can either make your trip memorable or miserable. The right hiking boots can carry you further, faster, and safer than any pair of casual shoes, so choose them wisely.
Thanks, Irina. Being properly prepared is essential to enjoying yourself on the trip. And a note about the hiking poles, not necessary, but definitely helpful for many people as it kind of relieves the pressure on your knees when hiking uphill or downhill. So definitely something to consider packing.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Irina and Kristen. It's been fantastic listening to you speak about the Boundless Journeys Slovenia experience. I hope you enjoyed seeing and hearing all about what Slovenia has to offer. If you're considering traveling with us this year, please don't hesitate to get in touch. You can reach us at 1-800-941-8010 or email me at Michelle, Michelle, at boundlessjourneys.com. Thank you so much for joining us today on this webinar, and we hope to see you on the trail.